everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching Marvel's Moon Knight Episode 2, and this episode we got a whole lot more answers. Obviously, full spoiler review, so go watch the show first. And yeah, so I thought that this episode was going to like kind of do a backstory on all the stuff we missed out on the first episode, you know, all those sequences of action that he blacked out, but instead they're just moving the story forward, which actually I think is to the betterment. So yeah, got a whole lot of answers, still a couple of questions as to, like, for example, who is Stephen Grant's mom that he's been talking on the phone with? Maybe it's just been his imagination, maybe they won't even bother to answer that, I don't know. But yeah, so now we kind of got a lot of backstory of Mark Spector. It was a lot of tell and not show, so like we know, you know, what happened. We know he made a deal with this god of the moon, and basically that's what's happened now, is that like he's possessed his body, and we know that the bad guy, Ethan Hawke's character, we know that he used to be the Khonshu's avatar, and now he's working for a different god. What's their name? Amesh? I think it was Amesh. Anyways, so we get the basic premise of what's happening here. The bad guy wants to revive his god, and you know, Khonshu, I guess, does not want that to happen. Still kind of unclear exactly what Khonshu's goal is at the end of the day. Like, does he want to be revived somehow? And in fact, they seem to have a bit of a they have a bit of an antagonistic relationship between Mark Spector and Khonshu, because essentially, you know, he's agreed to be his avatar essentially under duress, because his threat is that, you know, Khonshu's like, hey, if you stop being my avatar, I'll pick a next one, and the next one I pick will be your wife. Apparently he has a wife who is the Layla person that he was talking on the phone with, who we meet in this episode, and she's pretty cool. And it basically turns out that like they worked together, and I guess she was around when he got the suit in Egypt, and then for whatever reason, Mark Spector, I guess just to get her away from Khonshu, Mark Spector went on the run, and that's when this Stephen Grant personality, I guess, took over. It also does seem to imply that, yeah, Stephen Grant and Mark Spector were already separate personalities, but I guess before Khonshu, or, you know, it's, I don't know, maybe it's still a little unclear exactly, like, did Khonshu take over and then that's what kind of broke his mind, and started developing these other personalities, or was that already there? I'm sure we'll get a more definitive answer on that as the series goes on. Oh, and the other thing we got is, and I believe this is one of the elements that, you know, again, I am not familiar with this character from the comics. I don't have like this, you know, attachment to this comic accurate version of Moon Knight, really. But I, you know, just through social media, I've become aware that so Mr. Knight, which is essentially the version of Moon Knight who is wearing an actual suit, you know, like a literal suit. So in the comic books, that is supposed to be a separate personality all on its own, you know, so he's supposed to have like 7 personalities or something. But the show has simplified that to essentially be Mark Spector. When he puts on the suit and activates his, you know, his superpowers, he becomes the regular Moon Knight as you know him, with the cape and the hood and everything. And then when Stephen Grant takes over and he activates the power, he's essentially going to become this Mr. Knight character who's wearing a more literal suit, and he's essentially played for comic relief, but he can still, you know, he still has the superpowers. So to be honest with you guys, I think that's a really fun element, and I know that, you know, I think comic fans are going to be a little upset because I guess he's supposed to be a much more serious character and they're kind of playing him as a comedic element, but I understand it, you know, as coming from someone who, you know, this is my first like in-depth exposure to this character. I completely understand why they would want to kind of simplify this down, you know, and instead of trying to introduce us to like 7 personalities all at once, or even 4 personalities all at once, I totally get having like, okay, Steven controls one Moon Knight, he just becomes Moon Knight, but it's still the Steven personality. He just has a costume on and that's it. And then Mark Spector, I'm forgetting these names, and then Mark Spector has the normal Moon Knight, but it's still, they don't change personalities when they put on the costume. It's still just them in a costume. So that's pretty interesting. And overall, I really enjoyed this episode. We got a lot more, actual action towards the end. He had to fight off another jackal, and we got to actually see it this time. And apparently, the jackals are invisible to everyone except for them, which just adds more into the, everyone thinks he's crazy kind of thing. So I get that. And yeah, overall, I enjoy where the show is headed. Now we're going to Egypt, and we're probably going to get, more of a backstory. We're actually going to see what happened when he originally made this deal. So again, I guess that is my only thing, is that like we kind of get told what the whole backstory is here, but I do kind of wish, I kind of want to see it. I want to see him, I don't know what he did. Did he unearth a tomb of Khonshu? Did he see some kind of like ancient tablet of Khonshu, and then he makes a deal at some point? We get told that Mark was essentially dying, and then he made the deal, and now this is just their life. But I want to see it. I want to know exactly what happened. Something else, and then again, I don't know the details. I haven't actually researched it. So apparently, supposedly, there have been like a bunch of leaks on the internet, and in episode 4, there's supposed to be some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of show turning twist, which I don't know what that could be at this point. Like, this seems pretty clear cut. Like, it feels like the show is, while the first episode was very much like a almost like a psychological thriller kind of thing happening, this second episode seemed pretty open with answers and everything. Like, they confirmed that, like, okay, no, this is not just in his head, this all really did happen. It all really is happening. But hey, maybe that'll change. Maybe there will be something that happens in the show that'll make us doubt it again and be like, oh wait, no, hold on, maybe none of this is real. Sorry. So yeah, overall, I'm enjoying the show. I like the direction we're headed, and I like the answers we're getting. And again, this does not have a whole lot to do with like the greater Marvel universe. We're not seeing a bunch of connections and a bunch of references, which is fine. Like, there hasn't been a need for that yet, so I'm very much okay with this being its own thing. I will say, I guess I think a lot of people were kind of expecting this to, for this to be like the almost like, I guess, R-rated, super violent, bloody show, which, there has been some moments of like gore, I guess, but it hasn't been, this episode wasn't too extreme. I think last episode we saw a couple of bodies with blood and stuff, but this episode, he's fighting like a CGI monster, and the monster's invisible to everyone, so there's like a bunch of comedic shots of him being thrown around by nothing. And this one felt more like in the Marvel tone, I think, than the first one did, but we'll still have to see how the rest of the show plays out. But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying this. I like where this is going. He's definitely a different kind of superhero. I can definitely see a situation in which, him and both of their personalities and Khonshu kind of, maybe they come to more of an understanding, and their whole deal that they made, their whole relationship, becomes less antagonistic, and they start working together as actual, like Khonshu's kind of a jerk, I guess, is my thing, which I guess I get, right? Like, he's an ancient deity, and he's just kind of using these human hosts as to do his bidding, but I feel like at some point in the story he's gonna come around and actually care about like what's happening here. So I don't know, we'll see how this all plays out. Anyways, I'm enjoying it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know any theories as to be like, is there gonna be another twist where it's like, okay, no, hold on, maybe none of this was real after all. yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.